After the season, yeah, he wanted to just focus on obviously continuing to keep our jobs, and otherwise it wouldn't have been a conversation anyway. So waited till after the season and talked about it and worked it out.
What do you think some of the next steps for that defense are in the years to come under him?
Just continue to get better. You know, this is a tough league offensively, and everybody knows that year in, year out. It's probably the most innovative league in the country. We're talking about offenses and defenses. And, the cat and mouse game week in, week out. When you look across the country at what people do, our league has some really, really good offensive coaches, some great defensive coaches now too. So we just got to keep getting better. We really made big strides in the takeaway department. You know, tied for first in the conference, I think, in turnover margin. So it's better than last, where we were last year, and we just got to keep being in that area.
Cliff, the report that Bruce Feldman had a couple of days ago about Arizona State wanting Coach Gibbs and Herm Edwards obviously having a relationship with him. What went down there? Did any?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You never know. On social media these days, a lot of stuff gets posted. I played for Herm, so he better not be doing that.
So you didn't have any?
No, I don't know if that was real or not real. I mean, people post all sorts of stuff that's unfounded. I don't know if it was or not.
How is the logistics going to work of your early signing period?
Yeah, still working through that. The early signing period in general is new for everybody, but we think we'll have an operation set up in one of the conference rooms there that we can handle faxes and phone calls and all of those things we have to do at the hotel there in Birmingham.
How big of a how difficult does that make it when you obviously you're preparing during a game week and also having a very big?
You know, we have a good support system here, and I think those guys will have a good plan in place so coaches can coach and handle what they need to handle, and those guys can get any faxes and anything we need on that end.
How many guys do you think you will sign on that?
I'd say close to half the class. I don't know the exact number, but just talking to them, about half the guys want to get it done, and then other guys, for whatever reason, they're going to wait, whether it's they want to sign with their teammates or have some other reason. I'd say close to half the class.
Can you just speak to what Coach Gibbs brings to the recruiting front for you guys? Obviously, he's shown that he can develop really good players, but just to be able to go out and kind of find those ones that are right for this program? Yeah,
right for his system as well. He's a great evaluator. I think that's been such a huge help is he's evaluated guys that fit his system and then got them here, good kids that want to be at Texas Tech, and that makes a big difference. And then obviously they developed them well because I think that there's some young players that are going to help us next year that redshirted, not to mention all the guys we have coming back.
When you said you expect to sign about half the class, how many are you expecting to sign total between now and February?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the exact number. Somewhere between 20 and 22, I think. So we'll see how it all works out. There's always attrition as we go through this part of the year, but that's would be my guess.
What would you say your priorities this class are, and how do you feel about how you have done addressing them?
Yeah, I think you know, we've done well. Similar to every year, you know, you want to find big, strong linemen that can block and big, strong D linemen that can rush the passer and stop the run. And those are our top two priorities. And then we have a lot of guys coming back on this team. So hopefully we can bring those guys in this class, redshirt them, and let them develop. And there'll be a few that can play, I'm sure.
Dakota's a guy that we've talked about over and over and over again this year. His presence has just been huge for you guys. Can you just speak, I guess, to what he brings from a leadership standpoint to this team?
Yeah, he's been what you want in a leader, really. He's a guy that can talk about what not to do from experience and share his story with the young guys and the way he approaches the game. Day in, day out, the energy he brings, the focus, the appreciation for what he has now, coming from where he was. He's been huge for that defense. I've said it along, you know, when he got into that issue, he was the last person on our roster I would have expected. And he's a fantastic young man, and we're lucky to have him.
What's Rico Jefferson like with his ankle?
He's back. Yeah, he's back. Talked to him yesterday. He felt like by the game he'd be 100%. So we've got him in some good conditioning stuff, and he's looked sharp. He's come a long way as a true freshman to step in there. And, really been proud of his progress.
Anything else?
Have any players left the team after finals?
Not that I know of, but you never know how these things go. Most of them like to get home before they text me or call me to have that conversation. So we'll see. But no, I feel like we've pretty much have most of the guys that started still here with us.
First of all, your situation is never solidified anywhere. You know, it's been a grind for 3 years. But you know, I remember standing in front of the press my first year after every game, and I was like, holy cow! And I knew we were doing the right things. I knew we were getting better, and I knew eventually that would work out. But which I've said since I've been here, until you go do it on Saturdays, it doesn't really matter. So I give the kids credit. You know, we're still statistically we're still not very good if you look at it that way. But you can see the progress. People, you know, at the end of the day, people want to see progress, and you've seen progress. And as we're preparing for this bowl game against a top 10 South Florida offense, our kids, they practice hard, they practice physical. You know, we have 10 starters back on defense next year, so excited about the future.
3 years ago, when you were kind of seeing what you wanted to get in, I guess, the future, I guess, what were some things you were looking at as kind of, I guess, bars to kind of know that you were kind of getting a little bit better? Was it the turnovers or something else?
Well, you know, the first year I was here, we got 25 turnovers, and so it allowed you to win more games than you probably should have. The second year we had, I think it was 13, which if you're not very good on defense and you only get 13 turnovers, you're going to be awful. And that's what we were. We survived it. We barely survived it, but we survived it. And you know, you just getting Dakota back and pairing him with Brooks, like I've said all year, you have two Big 12 linebackers. Not that they're all Big 12 linebackers, but you have Big 12 linebackers, which erases a lot of mistakes. So they're both back. You know, we've developed players. We've done a good job recruiting. We've developed players. We're practicing young guys after every bowl practice, and there's going to be 4 or 5 guys that y'all don't even know that are going to, you know, make an impact next year. With all those guys starting coming back, you're still going to have, you know, young guys making impacts, which is what good programs do.
Who are some of those guys who you think?
You don't know me very well. I'm not into naming names. Just we've got a good group, got a good crop, and you know, like I said, we're excited about the future.
Coach, you talked about Dakota a little bit. Can you just expound on him and just sort of what he brings to your defense?
Yeah, I say it. Well, I guess I don't get to talk to y'all anymore, but I say it to the TV people every week. He is a calming influence on everybody. He doesn't panic. You know, he's been. You know, he's been the highs, he's been down to the freaking jungle, and he's back, and he appreciates every moment he's here. So, you know, there's just no panic in him, and he's out on the field, which obviously coaches, we don't panic, but if you have that person who can go out on the field to do those things and keep everybody calm, even when things aren't going well, because football is not a perfect sport. I tell people that all the time. Football is a hard game. I mean, it doesn't matter pro, college, high school. It's a grind every day. It's a grind every game. There's highs and lows, and Dakota has a knack of just staying right there. So that's why he's a captain.
So how does your new contract come about, as far as when y'all start talking about it and how many conversations were had and so forth?
I'm not going to get into those details. You know, I want to be here. My family loves it here. We have built a defense from the bottom, and you know, we still, trust me, I know we're far from perfect. We got a whole bunch of things we need to fix, and we practice to get better every day. But you know, I think the future's bright. I really do, and I think we can play some really good defense here. I didn't answer your question, but I'm not going to.
So take a crack at this one. Did Coach Edwards call you, or since Bruce Feldman said that you were targeted for Arizona State's
I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about. I will tell you this. I've had a chance to leave here every year I've been here. As bad as we were on defense, which is not, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not saying they were great jobs, but I came here to do a job, and I'm a stubborn son of a gun. And my wife might not be happy with me, but by golly, we're still here. So, and I don't mean that negative. I mean in the past. I mean, now we're good. Now, but I've said this all year, just so y'all hear me say this, and I don't care if it get. I've told the TV people for 12 straight weeks, no matter what happens here, this program defensively will never go back to where it was. Just from the structure to the recruiting there is a base. There's no just pick and grab and go take this guy and go get that guy, and there is a structure. There is a system and a structure, and as long as somebody didn't just come in and totally screw it up, it's never going to go back to how bad it was, in my opinion.
What is it about this job that you haven't stayed anywhere longer than 40 years since you left Colorado?
Do you think that's my choice?
Well, no, to some extent. But what is it about this job that, if you fulfill this contract, you're going to be here longer than you've coached anywhere else? What is it about this job that's
shocks you, doesn't it?
appealing to you?
Coach Kingsbury is a great guy to work for. Are you kidding me? I mean, Lubbock's a great place to raise a family. I got 2 young kids. We have recruited better players than anybody thinks that we have. They're about to find out, and I don't know. I get to come to work every day and coach football. I got 11 and a 13-year-old. What else I got to do? Coach football and raise my kids.
I know you're not big on naming names, but
I'm not going to.
In the second half, I mean, the guys who have actually been on the field playing in the second half of the season, who have you been most happy with what you've seen out of them, or their progress or development?
Most of them. I think they've all. Honestly, I think they've all gotten better. We practice different now. That's the other thing that and I know our offense has struggled at times, but we practice different. We practice more physical. We practice to help the defense. We practice more running the ball, which might not always show up out there on Saturday afternoons, but sooner or later it's going to, which allows us to be more physical on defense, which is what you've seen. Because other than Oklahoma, nobody hit us in the mouth and we back down. And I don't think we back down against Oklahoma. I just think they're the best offense in the country.
When you talk about your excitement for what this defense can become in the future, is there any kind of next steps you think this defense can take in the next couple of years with the guys that you haven't come in?
No, just keep working and practicing hard and getting better. I mean, they're really, at the end of the day, you recruit players to come in and develop, and if you give them time to develop before they got to go out on the field and actually play on Saturday afternoons, they're going to be better off when they do finally get out there. The culture's changed. We're not soft anymore, and I don't think anybody in the conference will tell you any different. And then they believe they can get a turnover every time the other team runs the ball or passes the ball. So therefore you have a chance to create turnovers, which, like I said earlier, a turnover erases a whole bunch of ugly things. So, we'll keep working and grinding and keep trying to improve. But like I said, this South Florida team's top 10 in the country in total offense, so we got our work cut out for us again.
With your takeaways, and you mentioned the dip last year and then this year, being able to bump it back up pretty high, obviously tied for 6th in the nation. Is that something that kind of surprised you, that they could bump it up that high that quickly, or did you kind of feel like last year you were doing a lot of the right things to get those takeaways, they just weren't coming your way?
Yeah, yes, we haven't changed anything. We preach it, we believe it, we live it. We got better players now than we had a year ago, and that covers up a lot of bad coaching when you got good players.
What'd your wife and kids have to say when going through this whole process?
Well, my son asked me if I was going to Arizona State yesterday, so as soon as I picked him up from school, and I was like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, and then 2 minutes later he was on his phone and we're staying here, and then 2 seconds later he Googles up the salary and the contract online. I'm like, how do you know all? It's crazy to me, but no, they're excited. They love it here. He said, I don't want to start over. That's what my son told me.